It is said that wars are only won upon the anvil of honor.
Others believe victory requires strategy and a mastery of power.
War is deception. A game played best from the shadows.
Only strength and raw power can assure total dominance.
But of course, you could forget all that and just have fun! Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm joined here by Dib to bring you the top 8 final, which is between Epsilon and Zamok. Dib, we were having a little bit of a chat about this game just before we actually went live and everything, and one of the key things I think that's going to be important for this game is the queuing strategy between these two players, because both these players are really, really good. But having a look at the decks and everything, you have a little bit more of an idea of what Zamok has actually brought. Considering the lineup that he does have, what do you think Epsilon's queuing strategy would try to be against Zamok?
There's a chance Epsilon could sweep with Zoo. Zamok's best deck against the Zoo is the Rogue, probably, but both his Hunter and his Shaman are quite weak against the Zoo, so Epsilon might go for something like that. Obviously Druid is Druid, so it can always sweep as well, but once again the Rogue is probably Zamok's best bet there, and I mean the Rogue is generally favored against the Hunter, so once again I think Zamok's best deck in his lineup is going to be his Rogue. There's a distinct possibility he can 3-0 with that Rogue, and I mean, it's definitely been an interesting choice. Rogue is not necessarily something most people will bring to the tournament, but he and I both chose to bring it, having played Rogue a lot, and also, we felt it suited the lineup well. It's a good deck to counter certain things, and when you're banning Shaman, which we both were, then Rogue becomes a lot better, because if you tech it a little bit, like we have teched it, then it can also help against the Zoo matchup. Yeah,
no, most definitely. Rogue is definitely one of those classes that it's got a lot of strong matches. It's got a lot of decent matchups. Let's rather say that, and a lot of the times there's basically a coin flip on whether you win or lose. I mean, for something like Last Year Standing, there's some stuff that is actually very strong against.
I don't know. Rogue has so many decisions to make during the game that I would never say it's down to a coin flip. The only kind of coin flip can sometimes be in the mirror. In the mirror, you can have a literal coin flip, and whoever gets the coin can be at a big advantage. But it's definitely going to be an interesting deck to watch, because there's a lot of really key decision making to make in Rogue. Yeah,
I know that there was something that Crip posted on one of his YouTube videos a little while back. Interesting stats, maybe not constructor related, but definitely arena rated. Specifically Rogue. A lot of people have got this conception that if Rogue goes second or has the coin, they're a lot better. According to the arena stats that he got from Hearth Arena or whatever it is, over something like 4 million games or 8 million games, Rogue is actually weaker with the coin, but yet again, that is...
I think
that comes down to arena
as well. It's very different in arena to constructed, because constructed you have so many things that synergize with the coin, stuff like SI7 agent and Gadget Sand, whereas those things you don't really have in arena most of the time. Yeah. In arena, Rogue is actually really strong if you know how to play it, but it's more about knowing when to flip the tempo. But yeah, so we get Epsilon does queue as Warlock here. As I said, I think it is a deck that can sweep here, so this is going to be a very key matchup. If Zamok can win this, then I think he stands a very good chance to actually just sweep with his Rogue, but if Epsilon wins, Zamok is going to be in real trouble. Yeah, most definitely. Alright, so you've got Epsilon who's obviously started up here with his Rogue. He's at least got a nice curve, going forward, because the reason we say that is because Zamok doesn't really have anything to answer. Yeah, Zamok's hand is a bit awkward. I mean, you don't really want to use a backstab on a Voidwalker, but the Voidwalker is also going to stop him from, killing any 3 health minions with the backstab and hero power. Yeah. Or with the weapon from the hero power. But, I mean, that's not something he's likely to face, at least. Yet. Yeah, so I mean, the Darkshire counts one I actually like, because you've already got another 3-drop. You've also got 2 minions to throw down in your 3-drop as well. So that Darkshire counts one can actually start causing a little bit of pressure. Yeah, and now that he's drawn the Tomb Pillager, that's going to be really important, because the Tomb Pillager can now be combined with prep and a spell like Sap to have a huge tempo play, and from that position he will then be able to play the Dark Iron Skulker afterwards. So the Dark Iron Skulker is really good at answering the wide board that Zoo usually sort of plays. So
Yeah.
I think that
Generally, Zoo starts flooding around turn 4, turn 5,
Yeah.
where they can actually really start
I
flooding.
think this is an interesting position from Zaymok. What I would actually like to see him do is just pass. I don't think he should play anything this turn, because I think next turn playing the Tomb Pillager and the Prep Sap on the Darkshire Councilman after it gains a bit is probably better value, because if you sap it here, he just plays it again, and you've gotten nowhere. But if you let him play some other minions, and then you Prep Sap with the Tomb Pillager, you can then use the backstab on the other minions that he plays to clear more important minions, and then you can follow that up with Dark Iron Skulker and hitting the weapon into the Voidwalker to clear that. So I don't think the Voidwalker needs to necessarily be cleared now. I think Zaymok maybe like panicking a little bit there, like not wanting to let this board get out of hand, but I think it would have definitely been better for him probably just to hold there.
Yeah, alright, but we do now see Epsilon has thrown out a Voidwalker as well as a Direwolf. That Darkshire Council technically on 3 attack and can cause a few issues.
Yeah, I mean,
but
so he has the Prep Sap again here. The only awkward part is now he can't deal with the Direwolf Alpha, so he's in a position where he's going to be taking more damage next turn, or if Epsilon chooses to trade, which he probably will, into the Tomb Pillager, then he has a much cleaner kill at least. But we see Epsilon also has the Power Overwhelming, which he can choose to use to trade, along with the Darkshire Councilman.
So Epsilon does actually have a couple of choices of players here, but I do think that the Tomb Pillager is going to cause a few troubles for him.
Yeah, I mean, he has the PO here, which is like really, really good here. The Darkshire Councilman is going to be difficult for Zaymok to deal with. There's only one Shadow Strike in the deck, so at this point he needs something like Shadow Strike or Eviscerate to combine with the SI7 agent or the Hero Power to kill it.
Yeah. Alright, so Zaymok, I kind of agree with his play. Just throwing out the Tomb Pillager, just passing.
The Dark Iron Skulker is not getting enough value here, so I don't think it's really great. And playing the Tomb Pillager here is pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean also, the Skulker has actually got a lot more value now, considering that there are some, there's 2 health minions now. There's a lot more value that you can get from it. If you had like a Fan of Knives or whatever, it would make this even better than what it is already.
Well, I mean, yeah, we need something like Prep Fan of Knives. I mean, we can see it's awkward. He's sort of 1 mana short of doing the coin SI7 agent as well, which would make the clear really, really clean.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, he's not. Sorry, he gets the coin from the Tomb Pillager. Yeah, this is a really nice turn for him. His HP is a bit low, but if he can hold the board from this position, he might well stand a decent chance. He's a little bit low on resources, which is going to hurt him. But we'll have to see. I mean, he still has both Fan of Knives, which are pretty important.
Yeah. I mean, at this stage, Epsilon does, he's got the health pool and everything as well. That he can afford to go and actually do some taps and actually start flooding the board a bit
so he can
more.
just tap every turn. Personally, I would have actually preferred him to play the Flame Imp here, because the Flame Imp trades much better into the 2 minions that are on board, whereas now he could get some favorable trades if he wants. But Zaymok's in a position where he has to clear every turn, so he has to probably, unless he wants to try a race, but I think it's a little bit risky to race here.
I don't think Zaymok has got the resources at the moment to try and go for the race. I mean, Zoo, you could just have a Doom Guard, then all of a sudden tap into a Power Overwhelming, and then you've got all of a sudden 9 damage to face.
And Epsilon is playing Silverware Golems. Not that is probably going to have any effect on this game, but it also makes the Doom Guard even better. He is only playing 1 Doom Guard though. He's playing 1 Doom Guard and 1 Siege Giant, which is not something I like very much. I don't think that Siege Giant and Doom Guard synergize very well. I mean, so he's playing Soulfires as well, so he's looking to discard cards, ideally looking to discard the Silverware Golem, but then he's also playing Siege Giant, which is generally a clunky card in your hand. So he's playing more like expensive things and making Siege Giant harder to play, and then also making it more clunky, making it more likely to be discarded by stuff like Soulfire and Doom Guard.
Well, if you have a look at Epsilon's hand at the moment, I mean, he can go Knife Juggler, Flame Imp, as well as Siege Giant. Hopefully getting some lucky juggles here.
Yeah, I mean, the Siege Giant is definitely working out here. He's putting a lot of pressure on Zaymok, and even 2 juggles to face are not bad.
Yeah. Alright, so we've got, Zaymok's down to 8, and this is going to start causing a bit of pressure.
Yeah, so he can play the Hero Power Deadly Poison and then Cold Blood on the Dark Iron Skulker to trade into the
Sea Giant.
Yeah, the Sea Giant, but his board position is still awkward. I mean, he pretty much has to trade off most of his minions. He has like nothing, really. He can't. If he leaves it up, he's relying on his opponent not getting. Like if he goes all face here and just clears the Sea Giant, then he's relying on his opponent not top decking like 2 minions and hitting face, or not top decking like 2 damage, I think it is.
Yeah,
yeah,
he needs 2 damage, yeah. If with the Sea Giant gone, he needs 2 damage.
Yeah, so if he trades the Drake here and kills the Flame Imp as well with his 3/2, then he's in an okay position. Like, okay, so he's going for the middle of the road play there.
Yeah.
So now Epsilon needs 4 damage. Okay.
Okay, he's actually
Going for the conceal as well. I mean, I like the conceal because the only reason to keep it is something like Gadgetan off the top, but that's not that likely. I mean, he needs to protect his Azure Drake, which is probably more important. And right now, he needs Fan of Knives.
Yeah, if he doesn't get the Fan of Knives, he pretty much loses this game.
It's pretty much Fan of Knives or bust. Oh, and unfortunately gets the Gadgetan, so... I mean, his play not working out for him, but I still think it was the right line of play. And this is a huge match. I think losing this game for Zaymok is going to be really, really rough.
Yeah, and Zaymok obviously realizes that there's something else he can do. So what's going to happen is that Epsilon is going to be moving 1-0 up in the series, taking the win with his Zulok over the Miracle Rogue. A little bit unlucky there for Zaymok. I also felt that the Rogue is definitely a class that can actually take down Zoo. And Zoo's also that deck that can actually start... You know, like pretty much can sweep here.
The thing is, our lineup, so I'd say our lineup, Zaymok and I have the same lineup, and we prepared together. So the lineup is sort of meant to tech against Zoo. So stuff like the Dark Iron Skulker that we saw in the Rogue, and also the Shaman is playing double Lightning Storm. It's an aggro Shaman, but with double Lightning Storm. So the aggro Shaman, I think, is probably the best thing he picks now. The aggro Shaman, according to your Vicious Syndicate stats, has about a 50% win rate actually against Zoo. So it's actually not that bad, and I think Epsilon's Zoo is a little bit clunky with the Silverware Golems. So unless he gets the synergy discarding them, I think it can be a bit clunky for him, which might actually mean that this Shaman matchup is kind of favored for Zaymok. I would say it's maybe like 52, 53%, so only slightly favored. So I definitely think that Zaymok can still be in a really good position if he wins with this Shaman, because the Shaman is really good against both the Hunter and the Druid still.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, so you can see Zaymok's actually got a decent hand already. From starting here.
This is quite interesting as to whether you want to keep the Lightning Storm. It's like, do you want to plan for when you're on the back foot, or do you take this hand, which is kind of telling you like you're going to be on the front foot, playing with like Argent Squire and Flame Tongue Totem. You know, it's kind of saying you could easily be on the front foot. So, but do you want to have the Lightning Storm in case you're on the back foot?
Yeah.
Like, I think you probably want to commit to one game plan or the other. He's also playing 2 Lightning Storms, which is key. If he was only having 1 Lightning Storm, you might well keep the Lightning Storm. And from Epsilon, we see he has the Silverware Golem in hand, which is probably not something you really want to keep, because it's only coming later. So, ironically, discarding
discarding it to get a card that could actually assist him with this. But either way, you just see that Epsilon does throw down the Argent Squire here. There's no really other play, but Argent Squire is also a very difficult minion for some people to actually deal with on turn 1 already.
Yeah,
it's a very strong one drop.
It's not that bad for Shaman. I mean, it's not bad. It's good against Tunnel Trog if you have a Abusive Sergeant. We see Epsilon doesn't. And Epsilon is in a little bit of an awkward position here. He probably just wants to play the 1-drop. Okay, he's opting to tap instead. And that's actually a really awkward draw from the tap as well, because he's now in a position with 2 Soulfires in hand, something you never really want. Power Overwhelming and 2 1-drops. So next turn he can play 3 1-drops again, which is just awkward if he doesn't draw something better.
Yeah.
And I think from Zaymok's perspective, this is a relatively easy choice here to coin the Feral Spirits, because what that allows you to do is it allows you to play the Flaming Faces on 4, because you overload this for next turn, and then you will be free from your overload the turn after. And I think it's very important also that Zaymok trades the Divine Shields here to lessen the effect of the Abusive Sergeant.
Yeah, most definitely. Alright, so you see Epsilon has now picked up the Knife Juggler. Looks like he's going to be opting to throw down... You're going to be throwing down...
Yeah, I think he has to try and clear a little bit here. So, if he plays the Power Overwhelming, it helps a bit. I wouldn't have actually minded seeing the Soulfire on the other 2/3, because now you remove the value trades. But, you know, the nice thing is that Zaymok has only got 1 mana this turn, so he's paid the price for sort of tempoing out last turn.
Yeah.
That he's there's not much he can do this turn. And this is not a bad hand for Epsilon. Yeah, I think he just realized that was a straight up mistake playing the juggler second.
Yeah, I think he was definitely going to hope for the 50-50 juggle.
Yeah, if he
to
got the
actually get
50-50 juggle, he could have gone. He could have held the soul fires. To be honest, I don't think he needed to play them if he didn't. If he got the juggle.
If you see the tunnel trog, it most likely will come down with
the tunnel trog with the lightning storm is really strong. I mean, this is what the tech is supposed to do. You know, it's supposed to give you a chance to come back on board, and this is Zamok being rewarded for taking that chance. That even though he had a good hand, it might have been countered by the Zoo, because Zoo is so good at fighting for board.
All right, but you know he's also got another choice. You know you can either get the tunnel trog as well as the lightning storm, which I feel might become more useful later on. I think playing 4 mana 7/7 right now is good, because unless Epsilon gets a good couple of lucky juggles, if he gets one juggle, right,
the thing is he has 6 now. He has 6 on board, so he clears the Flaming Faces relatively easily. And if he draws a Power Overwhelming, which you've seen one, and he has no cards in hand, but if he draws it, the Flame Imp trades into the Flaming Faces, and you're in a really bad position.
Yeah. So you see the Silverware Golem being picked up now?
Yeah, which is just awkward once again. I mean, he's probably going to play it because it's slightly better on curve here, and a bit more resilient to Lightning Storm, because Lightning Storm deals that 2/2/3 damage, so it's a chance Lightning Storm doesn't kill it.
Okay. So Epsilon is deciding he's not going to trade, he's actually just going to go face here.
Yeah, and Zamok is being totally rewarded for the 7 mana 6/6. Now the Lightning Storm is disgusting. You know, it clears at least 3 minions. Well, it guaranteed clears 3 minions, and he gets the 7 damage to face. So now he's been put in that really good position.
Unfortunately, you see the 2 Silverware Golems now in hand.
Yeah, well, all he needs is a Doom Guard, right?
Yeah.
And then he gets an amazing amount of stats.
Ooh.
Or if he got a Soulfire off this, that would have been helpful.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's a 1 damage off here, but I like the Shield Bearer. It basically is just trying to buy himself time. Because if he gets the Power Overwhelming that's still in his deck, or if he gets the other Dark Pedalint Power Overwhelming or Soulfire, or if he gets the Doom Guard, he can at least kill the 7/7 next turn.
Yeah, or the 7/6 currently.
Or
But
7/6,
I mean now Zamok is actually
yeah,
he's got a Lava Burst away to
I
hit
like the
another
Lava
7.
Burst. I mean, you put your opponent on 7. You have 3 in hand at least with the Rock Biter. You've got a strong board, and I think that's pretty much game. There's unless he top decks Defender of Argus, that could maybe hold. No.
Yeah, unfortunately Epsilon realizing he
yeah.
can't actually do anything.
So we see the tech in the Shaman here making the big difference and allowing the Shaman to beat the Zoo. So even though the Zoo won what was probably Zamok's best deck against the Zoo, being the Rogue, the tech in the Shaman has actually really paid off.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And I think also Zamok was really rewarded there, as you said, by allowing to be able to play very, very early. You know, costing himself the overload for his 3rd turn so that he could continue with tempo with the Flaming Faceless on turn 4.
Yeah.
And I mean, also, as you said, the tech was actually a very big saver there for him with the Lightning Storm, because without that, I think he would have been in a tougher position.
Yeah, so the big thing about teching in Last Hero Standing is that if you tech to beat your unfavorable matchups, it makes your deck somewhat better, because your opponent's always going to queue you the unfavorable matchup against you. So you're more likely to get that queuing scenario. And in a situation like this, where we're playing Shaman, which most people either have a strategy to deal with Shaman, or they're going to ban Shaman. So if your Shaman gets banned, tech cards don't matter. And if they don't have a strategy, if they do have a strategy to deal with it, that's generally going to be something like Zoo, Dragon Warrior, and the Lightning Storm helps a lot in the Zoo matchup.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, so we can now see that Epsilon has queued his Hunter in. And his other class that he does have is the Druid.
Yeah, with this Warrior being banned, it's pretty tricky here. Personally, I think the Druid might have been a safer, or at least the more likely pick to win. But if he wins with the Hunter here, then he is in a pretty good position. I think Zamok just has his Hunter left after this.
That is correct. He actually just has his Hunter after this one, if he does go down here.
So even if Epsilon wins, then it's a mirror, and then Zamok has to win what is only a slightly favored matchup against the Druid. Yeah, Epsilon playing the Senf class list, I believe. So the one that has Yogg and a single Ancient of War, a single Druid of Claw. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we see the Abusive Sergeant thrown down here for Zamok. And I think I kind of like...
Look, I did like it, but unfortunately he's getting a little bit punished for it. The Abusive Sergeant is much better against the traditional openings from Hunter because it's better against the 3/2s that could have been coined, and it's better against the Fiery Bat because the Fiery Bat can still trade into the Tunnel Trog. So I also like to play very heads up, but he just got a little bit punished. So Epsilon is running a list with single Knife Juggler and double Unleash the Hounds. So going wide on the board is also not necessarily the best, but the Feral Spirits are probably the best minions that are both wide on the board and good against Unleash the Hounds. Because, I mean, in this situation, Unleash the Hounds would only kill one Feral Spirit.
No, most definitely. Okay, so what we're looking at now is that Zemok has got a Lightning Storm. I think at this stage, you can turn this mid-range deck into complete aggro and start turning.
This is an aggro deck. This has Lightning Storm, but it's aggro. It's not mid-range at all.
The Lightning Storm is a little bit misleading at times.
Yeah, the Lightning Storm is purely tech.
So I think he definitely wants the 50-50 on the Flame Tongue.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate for him. So there was an interesting decision last turn actually about whether where Zemok put that Flame Tongue totem. So by putting it on the taunts, you make it impossible for your opponent to pick a more favorable trade into the taunts. But by putting it on the next to the Abusive Sergeant, you make the Abusive Sergeant much better for trading in the following turns. In the end, I think this is definitely going to work out better. And yeah, I like the Feral Spirits now because you can put as much pressure on the board, just keep going face, and you have the Lightning Storm. So it's going to be very difficult for Epsilon to deal with this board. In fact, I'm
don't
pretty
think
sure
can.
there's nothing he can do.
I don't think you can deal with it, really.
Yeah, we've seen just a really good opening from Zemok with this with the shot.
And that's unfortunately going to be the game here for Zemok, winning a second one really
really
quickly.
quick game with Shaman. And I mean, beforehand you were talking about whether Shaman had a chance to sweep, whether Shaman was going to be the big factor for Zemok. And I said I thought it was probably the less important game. I thought Rogue was probably more important. But we see the text that we made in the Shaman. I mean, both Zemok and I have probably played Shaman very little in this tournament because most of the time it gets banned.
Yeah.
But the deck's definitely working out, and that double Lightning Storm tech has really helped him win that Zoo matchup, which has really turned this whole whole game in his favor.
Yeah, most definitely. So now what that means is that Epsilon is left with his Druid. All right, and as we discussed a little bit earlier before this previous game, was that the Druid it's a very close matchup between the Shaman and the Druid here. I think it's going to.
I would disagree. I think the Shaman is quite heavily favored against the Druid. The tech of the Lightning Storm makes it a little less consistent, but the Shaman is really heavily favored against the Druid generally because this is a Druid that wants to get to late game. This is a Druid playing Yogg and stuff, and as a Shaman, generally you can kill them before they hit turn 10, so that Yogg is relatively irrelevant. I mean,
I also think it's going to come down to looking at the draws of the of Epsilon. I mean,
yeah, if Epsilon needs the really stupid, innovate openings to have a chance here. He needs to innovate into a taunt or innovate into a minion like Fandral or something that can generate a lot of value for him and allow him to actually control the board. He needs to control the board at least by turn 5, or he's going to be in a bit of trouble because even if you play Druid of the Claw turn 5 or even turn 4 if you have Wild Growth, it's your opponent's probably going to have generated enough of a board that he can deal with it.
Yeah. All right, if you have a look at the starting here for Zemok's actually got a very, very nice start as well. But I mean, if you have a look at Epsilon's starting as well, I mean, he's got the Living Roots into a Wild Growth, which is going to help him already start a little bit with that early ramp, which is what he needs to get to his late game cards.
Yeah, the Argent Squire is nice here. Being able to coin the Tuskar next turn is also good. I mean, we see Epsilon will probably... Okay, yeah, opt for the Power of the Wild. It's much better here. It allows him to trade, sets him up an awkward board for Zemok to deal with here.
Yeah.
And now the Tuskar Totemic is actually pretty awful next turn.
Yeah.
This turn, because the two attack minions will trade easily into the 3/2 body, and unless he rolls Totem Golem, are going to probably trade into whatever the totem is. Or Manotide Totem wouldn't be terrible, but the Hero Power would allow him to deal with that as well.
Yeah, most definitely. Okay, so we've got now Zemok. Besides that, the only other option he really has here is just using his Hero Power and seeing what happens from there.
He could also abuse the Sergeant and Lightning Bolt, one of the 2/1s. It forces his opponent to Hero Power to kill the abusive Sergeant, or if he trades, he can Wild Growth and stuff. But I think in this position, Zemok kind of wants Epsilon to Wild Growth. Like, usually you never want your Druid opponent to have Wild Growth, but in this situation, that would slow him down just enough for Zemok to get bored. And like Zemok is struggling on board here. That Living Roots Power of the Wild opening is really good when it comes to trading for the board.
Alright, he's definitely thinking about the Lightning Storm here.
Oh yeah, the Lightning Bolt, because...
The Lightning Bolt, yeah.
Yeah, if he goes for double Lightning Bolt, he has very little to do next turn. But if he played Lightning Bolt and one Abusive Sergeant, or the Abusive Sergeant, he would have been able to at least coin the Tuskar Totemic next turn. So now
this actually allows Epsilon to actually go with the wild growth
with much more freedom because he's not so worried. I mean, that's a good draw though for Zamok. The Argent Squire fills out the curve much nicer than the Abusive Sergeant because it isn't as weak to the hero power.
Alright, I think Epsilon is thinking about innovating out the Empress.
Yeah, no, I think you have to. You need a body on board. You certainly don't want to mulch this. You can't just hero power this. I think the Innovate here is pretty solid. I mean, you waste a bit of 1 mana from the Innovate, but you're making it up in the 2 mana you're gaining from, reducing mulch and Yogg. And, I mentioned earlier that Yogg, often you don't even get to playing it, but now that he's reduced it, that looks likely. So I think what Zamok's hoping for here is a Flametongue Totem. Flametongue Totem off the Tuskar Totemic plus the Abusive Sergeant is the only way he's actually going to deal with it. And he gets the Flametongue Totem.
He gets
That's really huge for this matchup. Otherwise, he probably would have had to ignore the Thaurissan and go face, and then the Thaurissan would have been able to get value trades and generate a board.
But the question is, do you think the mulch is worthwhile on the Flame Tongue? I mean, the Flame Tongue is essentially adding 4 extra damage to you, and you do know that this matchup is a little bit bad for you.
Yeah, I like the mulch. It's not an immediately obvious play, but you can reduce a fair bit of damage on board by using the mulch here.
Oh wow!
And a Nubisat Sentinel. Not the best against the Druid here because he can just hero power off your one health minion anyway. So you're probably going to play the. Well, okay. That changes things a bit.
Yeah, the Flame Wreath Faceless kind of changes a lot of things.
What I like here is actually Flame Wreath Faceless and then coining the hero power, because coining the hero power will reduce the Thing from Below to 4 mana, so you can play the Thing from Below next turn.
Yeah.
After the
overload from the...
Yeah, I don't... So the problem now is the Thing from Below is 5 mana next turn, so you just use the coin to play Thing from Below next turn, which is basically the same thing. Unless he wants to play the Doomhammer next turn, then that is the only major reason.
Looking at the hand there, I mean, that 4 mana 7/7 is really bad.
I mean, Naturalize is not something you generally want, but in this case, I think Naturalize might be his best bet. In Mark of Nature, there's no target. Starfire is too slow. I think he probably has to pick Naturalize and just give his opponent 2 cards. I mean, at least his opponent overloaded to do this, right? Like Zamok overloaded, so it's a bit more awkward. I mean, and now Zamok is being rewarded for the not coining the totem last turn because he can now coin Doomhammer because he has now this clunky hand of 2 Doomhammers all of a sudden. He probably just wants to play the Doomhammers out. Epsilon is not playing Harrison in his Druid, so there's no way for him to deal with these Doomhammers. These Doomhammers are almost guaranteed damage. There's no spells anymore now that Sabotage is out from Yogg that could deal with the weapon either.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. Alright, so we're going to see a coin out of either Doomhammer or the Anubis Sentinel.
Sentinel is probably the weakest thing to coin out. Like, you need to coin out the Doomhammer because it's going to take you 4 turns to use this Doomhammer and then 4 turns to use your next Doomhammer. And
essentially, it's 4 damage from here on out.
Yeah, so it's 4 damage a turn. So he's putting a clock on Epsilon. We see Epsilon, that is a pretty dead draw. Like, Epsilon, all he can really do this turn is hero power.
It's the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
Not even maybe...
No target for Wrath, not enough mana to play the Yogg. He's going to need miracles from this Yogg next turn.
How many spells has he actually played? He's played the Raven Idol, the Naturalize that he got from there.
I'm not even going to count, but I would guess it's somewhere between 8 to 10, which is not actually ideal. Ideally, you want to probably play about 12. I mean, he still has 20 cards in his deck, so it means he's played 10 cards. None of them were minions. None of them were minions. There was one.
There was Thaurissan.
Oh, so it's Thaurissan. So that means 9 spells plus Raven Idol. So he's played 10.
Which is generally
Raven Idol gave him
more or
extra.
less where you want to actually have
it. 10. Like, I don't think he has much choice. Oh, okay. Fandral Wrath is actually that's pretty much the exact card he needed.
And hopefully he's able. He's definitely going to want possibly for some other way that he can get a lot of value out of this off the card draw. Ooh.
Yeah, Innovate's not really what you want, but at least his Yogg is up to 11 spells now. So once he hits 12, he's a lot more likely to hit heal and stuff like that he wants as well.
Alright,
and
but
now,
yeah.
Zamok's in a bit of an awkward position because he doesn't really have a way to deal with the Fandral, and the game could get a little bit ridiculous if he doesn't. But if he plays the Tuskar and gets another Flame Tongue, that's really good once again because the Argent Horse Rider would allow him to trade. I mean, he could still do the Argent Horse Rider play. and trade into the Fandral twice with his hero power, which might be what he'll do.
I mean,
because
he's happy with taking 6 at this
it's
point.
pretty important to kill the Fandral. So, yeah, I think it's pretty solid.
This is where you hope
Like something
Yogg pulls you
I mean,
out like a
there's
flame strike.
no Wisps of the All God or anything, but something like Ancient of War or Druid of the Claw next turn could have been really, really huge. Even a Maya Keeper, or a Maya Keeper who'd just pick the...
Alright, well, question is... Okay.
Scenarios would have also been really big. I'm just looking at the options that he could have...
Alright, so he's going to
sent in.
innovate out Yogg here. So
Yeah,
12 spells.
I don't think he has much choice. Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate. So Yogg's guaranteed dead. Oh, Phyland's Portal is really good.
That's not good, Yogg.
Feral Spirit's really good, though.
Yeah.
Oh, he's hoping the Blessing goes on one of the Spirits.
Oh, there
yeah,
we go.
That's great. Now he just needs Yogg not to Twisting Nether. Which Yogg tends to like to do.
Yeah, Yogg tends to do a lot of things.
Oh, he really doesn't want to mulch his own... Okay.
Oh, that's actually not a bad mulch.
Okay, that's worked out pretty well. And
Yeah.
what secrets did he get here? Mirror Entity and Eye for an Eye. Yeah. Zemok's in a pretty awkward position when it comes to dealing with the 6-5 now. He can maybe play Sir Finley to get something like Life Tap, but if he gets Sir Finley and he picks... Oh no, if he gets Sir Finley into Shapeshift might be his best, because if he gets it into the Mage Hero Power Fire Blast, he can kill the 6-5, but like he has to take 12 damage for that, which is really awkward. Whereas if he got something like Life Tap, he could maybe get a Lava Burst from the top, which would is probably his most clean answer. Although he doesn't know what secret Epsilon has, so if it's Counterspell, it could be a problem. So Finley is also the nicest thing to play into a possible mirror entity, because it's the sort of smallest thing. Oh, or Tunnel Trog. They're basically the same, because the the Druid is not going to overload.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. So another question is, like, does Zemok actually go testing first? Yeah, he does go for the test first then at least.
Yeah, so I think he's committing to play the Totem Golem and the Cultist this turn.
Yeah.
And then he can play the thing from below to have that try deal with the 6-5 next turn.
Yeah,
He doesn't want to take the damage to face. He knows Yogg is gone, so the board clear's gone. Oh, and he... Okay, so he managed to pick Steady Shot in time. That's pretty important. I was a little bit worried there that he might rope and just get forced into whatever the first hero
Do you
power
Raven
is.
Idol a minion to hopefully get Yogg again?
You've got a Raven Idol for some removal. Like Starfall or Swipe or something like that is definitely what you need here. And the Mark of Nature is going to be really good, though. You can put it on his Kodo or his 6-5. I might have preferred it on the Kodo to diversify your sort of options. Now, I mean, he puts it down to 4 health here, and then it's not that good right now. I mean, he can trade 2 minions into it pretty cleanly. Or, I mean, we see in hand he has the Lava Burst, which will even more cleanly deal with it.
Alright, so you know, Epsilon is also now sitting in a sticky situation. Does he actually use his
Raw to try and...
Yeah, his rage.
Oh, Feral Rage, sorry.
Yeah, he's going to use the evolved spines to actually get rid of the Totem Golem.
I mean, that's fair enough. He wants to try and reduce the trades, because Totem Golem would have been really good to trade into the 3-3.
Yeah.
Oh,
Alright.
wow. That Lightning Storm is... it could be really good here. So Lightning Storm plus Lava Burst, and then you can Hero Power as well. That will probably allow you more favorable trades into his board. And if you high roll on the Kodo or the Tunnel Trog...
I think it's really bad if he does roll 2 on everything.
It's not... Oh, that's probably one of the worst rolls. But at least now he can trade Sir Finley into the 6-1. And then he can probably clear the 1-1 with his hero power, with his weapon. And he probably just has to... maybe he kills both with his weapon, quite honestly. You're only taking 4 damage if you kill both with your weapon. You're keeping your board stronger. I kind of like it. I kind of like killing both with a weapon and then lava bursting face. Okay.
I think he's going to be racing because that's 4, 6, 8. He's got 12 there by doing that.
So is he going to trade the...
He's actually just pushing for lethal. Yeah, he's going to be setting up lethal next turn.
Yeah, okay.
By doing
No,
this.
that's fair enough. I like that, actually. That's a good point. Oh yeah,
Actually,
that
that's
is
lethal.
actually lethal. Huh.
That's
Casters
lethal.
missed lethal. Sap casters.
Yeah, let's sap the
Well
casters.
played. And
Yeah.
I mean, we're basically sap because Zemok's winning there. He goes up 3-1. And
Yeah.
he manages to sweep with the shaman. So
This is what I mentioned right at the beginning. I was
Yeah,
like, I was like, does it have the potential? We were like, But you know what? In the end, Zemok taking the win 3-1. He does pocket himself a nice bit of $5,000.
yeah,
for
5,000
himself.
rand, and Epsilon walking away with
3.
3,000. So
Yeah.
that's also a very good return for what I believe is one of his first tournaments. So
Yeah.
you know, it's very good to see these up and coming players. I mean, last prelims, Zemok was also sort of an up and coming player. He finished second in that one, losing out to Pandemonia.
Yeah.
This time managing to go one better and win the title. So
Yeah.
you know, I'm very happy for him. Very young player, one of the youngest players here, I think, if not the youngest.
Yeah.
And so it's very good to see, you know, young people taking on Hearthstone at a like serious competitive level.
Yeah,
here
no,
in
most
South Africa.
definitely. I mean, if you had a look at the way that he played, he doesn't look like he's actually new to the game at all. I'm playing.
Yeah, no,
He's-
he practices a lot,
He,
and
he does.
it's
And
definitely this is definitely a just reward for all of the practice that he's put in to Hearthstone.
I mean, he also tried to mitigate. You know, as much as RNG is a basically a random game. I mean, there are ways that you can actually
Yeah.
mitigate a lot of that randomness as well.
I mean, yeah,
and he did show that he was actually trying to do that. And you know what? He's actually an incredibly good player. We can't take anything away from him. He had a tough road. He had a couple of tough opponents. I mean, he also took out Pandemonia today as well. So
or Epsilon took up Pandemonia.
yeah, Epsilon, yeah. And then
Zemok beat me
yeah.
and Gascoon, or Gas,
Yeah.
as he is now known,
Yeah.
on his way to the final, which is also a pretty rough road.
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy road to get to where it is, considering
Yes.
that you also had the 7-round Swiss yesterday as well,
Yeah,
which was incredibly difficult.
Zemok just scraped through, and Epsilon came in about fifth, I think, seed. So I mean, the important part being there that all you need to do is make it through the Swiss, because all the top seeds were knocked out relatively quickly.
Yeah, most
So,
definitely.
yeah.
All right, well, Dib, that's going to pretty much conclude our little event here. A big shout out again to Internet Solutions and IS Gaming for giving us this amazing venue. The decor people that actually came through, the admin team that actually helped run this tournament,
Yeah,
the
admin team
players
has done a great job.
Yeah, the players that were actually here to run everything out, you know, they were here and attending.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
a very big attendance as well, which was really, really nice. And I mean, this venue just kind of helped a lot as well. So, got to meet a lot of new people and everything here. Great venue, and I'll definitely be happy to have another one of these definitely here at this stage.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll have to see next year, I suppose. Or I don't know if we're having a BlizzCon event for when they have BlizzCon. But either way,
knows?
next year
Maybe.
we'll have to have more prelims, and hopefully
There's actually a-
Hearthstone can grow and just
Yeah.
get better and better.
If I'm not mistaken, there's actually a prelim in December already, starting for the 2017 season already.
Oh,
It's the
okay,
winter
yeah.
prelims.
Yeah.
So there's going to be definitely another prelim in December, which I'm definitely looking forward to. But Dib, thanks very much for coming through and actually having a little cast with me. Yeah, it's always great to have a co-caster instead of solo casting. Sometimes it just gets a little boring. It's better to have a conversation with someone. But again, thanks very much to you for co-casting me with this amazing final where Zemok had beat Epsilon 3-1, losing with his rogue, but however coming back and sweeping with his shaman. In the end, which was really, really well done. Shows that a little bit of tech for tournaments does actually help.
Yeah, I mean, all the preparation and making the decision to take the Lightning Storm really has helped. And well played to both players, and congratulations to Zemok.
Yeah, perfect. All right, guys, thanks very much for tuning in and watching the stream.
Who,
It's
by
all
the
good.
way, is representing Weekly Level Up, because technically he's a Weekly Level Up player. Zemok.
Okay, so big shout out to Zemok for winning from Weekly Level Up. Always great to see. I think this is his first tournament win as well.
Yeah, first major tournament win.
Yeah, first major open tournament win that he actually has picked up here, 3-1. Do you know what his results are like for DGC? Is he potentially...
He's in first div at the moment, so I know he has to play Jacques or Selfmood and Gas today for his DGC games, or DGL games. So hopefully he can make DGC as well.
It'll definitely be nice to see him there at DGC and showing us, what he can do at a big tournament like that, where there's going to be a lot more prize money at stake. But again, thanks to everybody that was watching. Again, big shout out again to Internet Solutions and IS Gaming. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to have this tournament. And again, a big shout out to everybody that actually assisted. Dib, thanks again very much. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll be seeing you guys around shortly.
Yep. Cheers.